Hi, I'm Dr. Carolyn Coker-Ross, and today I'm going to be talking about intergenerational trauma and the family patterns that result from that. Now, as I've said before, intergenerational trauma refers to the transmission of trauma effects from one generation to the next, and patterns within families experiencing intergenerational trauma can include the following. First, repeated traumatic events. So a family may have a history of experiencing similar traumatic events across generations, such as the soldiers from one generation to the next being in wars, natural disasters, or domestic violence or substance use disorders. Second, there can be unresolved grief and loss. Trauma can cause this unresolved grief and loss, which may show up, for example, dysfunctional coping mechanisms within the family, such as substance abuse, emotional withdrawal, lashing out in times of stress, and so on. The third way it can show up is attachment issues. Now, attachment is that bond that babies and their caregivers form early in their lives. And trauma has been shown often to disrupt that bond. And when that bond is disrupted, it can lead to lack of trust. It can lead to problems in relationships, friendships, and even relationships at work. The fourth way is mental health challenges. So I've talked about my family tree, which was riddled with trauma and with mental health disorders within the family over many generations. These include things like depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, and again, these can be passed from generation to generation and on. Number 5 are communication problems. Oftentimes, if a family has been affected by intergenerational trauma, they may have problems with open communication and expressing emotions, leading to misunderstandings and conflict. So research shows the link between intergenerational trauma and these family patterns. And studies have also shown that trauma that's experienced by one generation can have lasting effects on the mental and emotional well-being of subsequent generations. So I want to give you some examples now to give you an idea of how this happens. The first is the Holocaust survivors and their offspring. Research has documented how descendants of Holocaust survivors exhibit higher rates of post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, and anxiety compared to the general population. These effects have been attributed to the transmission of these trauma effects through family dynamics, parenting styles, communication styles, and coping styles. So that's one of the ways that these patterns get transmitted. Number 2, in Indigenous communities, we know that Indigenous, Native American and Alaska Native, and Indigenous populations all over the world have experienced intergenerational trauma due to colonization, forced assimilation, and cultural genocide. Studies have demonstrated how this type of trauma experienced by previous generations continues to reverberate in the mental health and even physical health and well-being of current generations in the Indigenous communities, leading to higher rates of substance use disorders, suicide, and other mental health and physical health issues like heart disease, diabetes, etc. For my culture, the descendants of slavery, research has also explored intergenerational effects of slavery, showing how historical trauma continues to show up and shape the experiences of African American families. This includes, again, higher rates of poverty, substance use, discrimination, mental health issues, all stemming from the legacy of slavery and ongoing systemic racism. These examples highlight how intergenerational trauma can manifest in our families for generations after generation, even though our children and grandchildren may not have experienced the trauma. However, they may still have the effects of the trauma. And it can affect communities as well, not only individuals, but the whole community and their social and cultural dynamics. So let me give you some specific real-world examples of how this might show up in your family, for example. So money patterns. This one really resonates with me. This is my story. A family that experienced poverty or financial instability due to historical events such as war, economic depression, or slavery developed patterns of hoarding money, being excessively frugal, have an aversion to spending even when their circumstances improve. So research studies have shown the effects of economic trauma can be transmitted from generation to generation, impacting attitudes toward money and behaviors towards money management. There's one study that showed that individuals who grew up in financially unstable households were more likely to exhibit hoarding behaviors in adulthood, or they could be big spenders. Okay, let's look at communication patterns. Here's an example. A family with a history of trauma such as domestic violence or emotional abuse may develop communication patterns characterized by avoidance, secrecy, or aggression. Members may struggle to express emotions openly or assert their needs due to fear of conflict or retribution. Now, research has shown that it's highlighted how trauma can disrupt communication patterns within families, leading to difficulties in expressing emotions and forming healthy relationships. So I think this is really important to note. And the secrecy one is a real clue because that shows up in a lot of families who've had domestic violence or abuse. These communication patterns can then be passed down through the generations, perpetuating that dysfunctional dynamic within the family. The third thing is parenting styles. Parents who experience trauma in their own childhood, such as neglect, abuse, etc., witnessing domestic violence, having a parent with substance abuse or mental health issues, may themselves struggle with parenting. Either they repeat the same harmful patterns, or they overcompensate by being overly protective or controlling. And this can lead to difficulties in setting boundaries, providing emotional support, or fostering independence in their children. So in terms of the research, studies have shown that adverse childhood experiences, including trauma, can impact parenting styles and contribute to intergenerational patterns of dysfunction. So one of the researchers who looked at this found a very strong association between adverse childhood experiences and adverse parenting practices, such as harsh discipline or neglect. The fourth example is about attachment styles. So family trauma can disrupt attachment patterns between parents and children or caregivers and children. And that then can lead to what we call insecure attachment styles that are often characterized by anxiety, fear of abandonment, difficulty trusting others, or being emotionally detached. So children may struggle to form secure relationships later in life, leading to perpetuation of that cycle of intergenerational trauma. Now, back in the days of the Second World War, a researcher studied this attachment issue, and his name was Bowlby, and he emphasizes the importance of early relationships in shaping the attachment style and how we relate to each other in relationships. Research has also shown that trauma can disrupt secure attachment bonds between parents and children, leading to insecure attachment patterns that then are passed down from generation to generation. So these examples illustrate how intergenerational trauma can influence family patterns across many domains, including money, parenting, communication, and attachment. So the research has been providing support for this link between trauma and intergenerational dynamics, highlighting the importance of addressing trauma within families. So what I'd like to give you now are a series of questions that can help you start to break the cycle of dysfunction. And I invite you to journal about these questions. So the first question is focused on how can we start the change. And that's number one, becoming aware of these patterns, watching videos like this, attending other sort of informational sessions. The second thing is to reflect on how you were parented and ask yourself, what are your goals, either as a parent or as an adult, for yourself or for your children? Number three, ask yourself whose choices you are making. Are they yours, or are they the choices that you were taught to make by your parents or expected to make by your parents? Number four, what did it mean in your family to be a little girl or a little boy? What was expected of you as a child, as a teenager, as a young adult? And how did that make you feel? Did you feel you had to play a role growing up, taking on more responsibility for your age or your stage in life? How did this affect you? Now, if you did a vision board, which I'm a big proponent of, by the way, think about the life you want to live going forward and what would it show. So I mentioned the vision board, and I just want to kind of talk briefly about that. And the vision board is where you can take a poster board and then look through magazines and clip out either pictures or words that express something that you want to achieve. It could be simple goals, or it could be sentiments like, I want to be more open in my communications. I want to stop keeping secrets from family and friends. I want to be more honest in my communication. However you want to do it, you can put things like, I want to go to nursing school. For me, I did a whole vision board on renovating my house when I lived in Denver, and I was shocked that I actually accomplished all of the things that I wanted to accomplish of renovating my house. Now, maybe it wasn't the vision board, but certainly doing a vision board or any kind of activity like that can help you to bring forth what you're looking for. So the important thing now is bringing forth and understanding the effect of how you were parented, and if you have children now, how you want to parent them to break the intergenerational trauma cycle. Finally, I'm going to leave you with the meditation called the Future Self Meditation, which will help you to get into your future self and see what that's like. So enjoy.
Find a place where you can relax, where you won't be disturbed. You can lay on the floor, you can sit in a chair. And when you're ready, close your eyes and take 3 deep cleansing breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. With each breath, allow your body to become even more relaxed. Your limbs become heavy. Your body feels as if it's melting. Take one more deep cleansing breath, breathing in and exhaling. Now breathe in to the count of 4. Hold your in breath. Breathe out to the count of 4 and hold your out breath. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Do that 2 more times, again breathing in to the count of 4, holding your in-breath for 4. breathing out to the count of 4, holding your out breath for 4, and one more time on your own. When you've finished, again, just notice the sensations flowing through your body. Notice the heaviness of your limbs. Take another deep cleansing breath. Now imagine yourself on your favorite beach to relax. It may be somewhere you've been before or somewhere you've only seen in a picture. Just imagine yourself laying on the beach, feeling the warmth of the sand beneath you, feeling the sun above you warming your body. Listen for the sound of birds flying overhead. Just notice the beautiful blue sky, the white puffy clouds. Feel the warmth of the wind just blowing across your body. Just notice that sensation in your body of being completely relaxed and at peace. If you have any thoughts interrupting this peace, just imagine them as puffy clouds moving across the sky. You don't have to attach yourself to them. You don't have to think about them. Just notice them moving overhead in the beautiful blue sky. Now when you're ready, sit up on the beach. Imagine yourself sitting comfortably and look to your right. You'll see someone walking towards you. As that person gets closer, you recognize that it's you, your future self. Notice what she's wearing or what he's wearing. Notice their gait, how they're walking. Notice the expression on their face. And allow them to come and sit before you. Just allow your future self to tell you what he or she has learned in the future and has brought back to you to help you with whatever struggles you're experiencing now. Let your future self tell you about their career, whether they're happy or not, who's in their life and who isn't. What they're doing for fun. Are they traveling? Do they have grandchildren? Are they married or single? If there's anything in particular you're struggling with now, ask your future self for advice. You may want to ask about your eating, your exercise, your weight, or you may want to ask about relationship issues that you're struggling with or personal issues that you're dealing with. Just take the time to allow your future self to tell you what he or she has learned. If you have any other questions, ask those now. And just know your future self is your wise self. It's that part of you that's the essence of you that never changes, but just becomes wiser and more competent over time, more comfortable in their bodies, more comfortable in themselves. When you've finished with your questions, ask your future self to give you a token of their experience, something that will remind you of the wisdom they've gained. It may be a stone, a gem, a flower, whatever is meaningful for you and your future self. Your job is to receive this gift with gratitude and appreciation. Then ask your future self if they have any parting words of advice for you. Now you can say goodbye to your future self, and as your future self walks away, again notice everything you can about him or her. Appearance, level of self-confidence, the way they walk, what they've learned. Just take a moment to reflect on this experience. As you stay aware of your breathing and continue to stay very relaxed, reflect on what you've learned from your future self and how it's felt for you to be around them. Take a couple of deep breaths, breathing in this wisdom that your future self has brought to you, and breathing out any fear and uncertainty, any anxiety. With another deep breath, breathe in gratitude for your future self's wisdom, and breathe out any discomfort, any doubt, any other emotions that continue to pop up, any anxiety. Just exhale those. Continue to notice the feeling of relaxation in your body. And take another deep breath, moving it from the top of your head, down your face and neck, into your shoulders and arms, and then breathing out. With the next breath, move that breath into your chest and your upper back, your midsection, your low back, and then releasing any discomfort in your out breath. With your next inhalation, breathe in to your hips, your pelvis, your thighs, your lower legs, all the way to the tips of your toes and down to the center of the earth. Enjoy the feeling of relaxation. Enjoy this sense of peace and quiet. And know that you can come back to this at any time you want. Before opening your eyes, just repeat to yourself, all is well. All is well. All is well. Then slowly bring yourself back to the room where you are. Notice your feet on the floor or your back on the bed, the chair beneath you. Open your eyes whenever you're ready. Just allow yourself to sit where you are, or if you're laying down, to sit up, and to reflect on your experience and perhaps record it in your journal. or on your computer so that you won't forget the wisdom that your future self brought to you. And remember, all is well.